Hello? Is this thing on?
Hi, Simon. I see you. I see you.
Demi, I see you. I thought we were just voices. I can't quite understand what is going on here. This is This Week in Quality. You do not need to adjust your screens. I know this feels very strange. We have cameras on. We have entered a new era. So the camera's on, and when people join the stage later on, we encourage you to switch your camera on as well. This is it, folks. This is the new era of This Week in Quality. We're going to have some fun with this. There's backgrounds to be had at some point if you want to have fun with your backgrounds. I did think about, I spotted a silly wig in my kid's room, but I didn't go with that one. I'm glad I didn't. And as Alexander Romanov shares in the chat, those people are actually real, not an AI avatars. Exactly. So this is This Week in Quality. It is the 5th of June, 2026. Thank you to those of you who are joining us live today. Lovely to see some folks saying hi in the chat. We've got Helene, Gary, Neil, Adam, and Alexander, as mentioned before. This is an official Multiverse event, so please be mindful of the code of conduct, which you can find on initiativetesting.com. So if you are in the chat active, you are joining the stage. Be mindful of that. Keep the chat coming. After this, I'll be able to check everybody in and dish out the stars. I see that Demi, your line dropped for a little bit there. Had a good frozen screen, but it looks like you're back in action. Demi, how are you doing? How has your week in quality been? Oh, folks, I think we might have a connection issue. That might be my side. It might be Demi's. Let me see. I can stall for time. As Alexander shares, at one point of time while hosting TWiQ events, I thought that I am also an avatar. I'm hearing you, Alexander. Well, we have unfortunately lost Demi for those tuning in live right now. So we're going to do our best to get Demi back as soon as possible. But looking at my notes here, what a week in quality it's been. It's been wild. Loads of people doing all sorts of things. I've seen, let's bring Demi back on stage. Demi, welcome back. The pressure of the video. It looks like you're good. I think I can try and unmute you from this side. Let me give that a go. You should be.
It wouldn't be This Week in Quality without issues joining the stage.
Yes, Wistia, our trusty, reliable tool. So, Demi, you didn't miss too much. I was just about to share. Well, I'll ask you about your week in quality, but I wanted to highlight. I got our friend Claude to go and look at everything that's been happening on the Multiverse, and since last week's This Week in Quality, and there's 35 items have been posted. So these are insights, talks, and into the Multiverse episode, news items, moments. It's excluding all of the satellites that have been added. So these are the interesting bookmarks that are happening, and all of the tons of glossary items. We've had a whole wave of new glossary items being added, which is very, very exciting. So, we do encourage folks to land on that homepage as often as they possibly can, and you'll often see new stuff appearing all the time. But Demi, how's your week in quality been? What have you been up to?
It's been busy. I always say this when I come on here, but this year is just a very busy year. Lots of deadlines. This week is a bit of a planning week. We just got all the necessary info for some conformance testing we're going to do with Europe later in the year. I'm almost going on vacation, so that's also a bit planning there. How do I get to my vacation? Well, I'm also planning how to get to Monacon in October already. So because I'm taking the train together with Nadia from the MOT Berlin. So we're taking the train together to London, and then Helene is joining us in London because she's on vacation in London at the moment. And then we go to Brighton together, and we reserved an Airbnb together. And then on the way back, I'm going back to Belgium with Helene. So
that's amazing.
It's also we're trying to find the right trains and everything. Yeah. So anyone want to travel with us from Belgium to London or from London to Brighton, let us know. It's always more fun with more people.
That's such a cool adventure. That sounds so cool.
Yeah. I also, this week, I apparently won tickets to HL testing days in November. So I'm planning another conference trip, apparently.
Hooray.
So it's always fun. So yeah, it's a planning week. So preparing everything for my vacation, for big testing events, for conferences. It's the week for planning, I would say.
I like it. Lots and lots of planning. I see in the chat a few folks commenting. Helene says that Demi's presence was too much for Wistia to handle. Indeed. Preeti says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Preeti. Thanks for joining us. Nyacha, I just joined. What did I miss? I mean, it's all happened in the first 10 minutes with cameras on. It's all it's exciting stuff. We've had Demi disappearing into the multiverse and then coming back. And Gary Hawkes shares, wow, I'm working through one of the certs at the moment. Oh, cool. So all the fab content that's being posted right now is sitting in my bookmarks. It's one hell of a backlog. It really is, Gary. I'll be honest with you. I'm struggling to keep up. And this is what I do day in, day out, right? I'm so behind on Into the Multiverse episodes. And I really want to watch and listen to the one that Rosie had with Dan Faulkner, who's the CEO at Smart Bear. I think by the sounds of the chat with Rosie about it, they had a really good conversation. So lots of good stuff in there. And I think, when you get two CEOs having a chit chat, there's always some very interesting insights to come out of that. So looking forward to checking that one out. Nadja, yay, Demi, that's so cool. I'm volunteering at ATD again this year. And Demi and Helene.
Nadja, both.
Yeah. And Helene, Demi just revealed our travel plans, of course. So we know that there's an exciting, I'd say road trip, but train trip happening.
Yeah, it's the trains, yes.
I love it. Well, let's hope when you get.
Yeah, it's it was really like, oh, and we're making this there, and then this thing there, and this, and
I'm hoping that the I'm hoping that the UK train network is behaving towards the end of September and early October. Fingers crossed. Brilliant. Okay, Demi. Well, shall we dive into a bit of a theme for today? How does that sound?
Yes. What do we have in store for today?
Well, I had a really good chat with Ash Winter. If you don't know Ash, I do recommend that you go follow his profile. I should have a profile link to hand, but I don't, so I can't share that right now. The thing about Ash is he's super experienced. He is a fantastic quality engineer and quality coach, and he's really been there and done that in many different contexts. And I think this is kind of one of his skills, is to learn from all those different contexts. And we had a call for insights. Oh, thank you, Demi, for sharing that. We had a call for insights earlier this week. And he really wanted to talk about the tensions quality engineers face when they're deciding to go really hands-on with their high value activities, their skills that they're very good at, or when to coach and train people, when to say, right, I could do this detailed exploratory testing session because that's what I'm really good at, or I could train developers how to do exploratory testing. And we went back and forward in the conversation. But I ended up with this definition of high value activity. And I think is this session, this week in quality, to discuss it a bit and get people up on stage, talk about some of the challenges they have trying to define their own high value activity. So the definition is this, and I will grab the glossary link as well and bung it in the chat so people can follow along if they want to. So it says this: a high value activity is a task that draws heavily on a person's experience, judgment, and skill to produce outsized impact, as distinct from routine work that almost anyone could pick up. For a quality engineer, identifying which activities are genuinely high value and reserving their attention for those is itself a skill, since the same person could spend time on low impact checks instead. The judgment is contextual. A task that is high value on one team or for one change may be low value on another. For example, applying deep exploratory testing to a complex, risky change rather than to a minor copy tweak. Leading a story kickoff where requirements are still unclear, or reviewing an architecture for risks before code is written. And I think this quote from Ash I wanted to share. So he says, it's a true high value activity because you pour all your experience, all your know-how and domain knowledge into testing the product that's in front of you, whether that's by exploring the whole product or an individual feature or the product or whatever the task is. So he's really arguing like this dilemma that we face as professionals, like where are we best placed, and should we go all in on high value activities, or do we make sort of trade-offs where we may have to step back from doing that to train others to level up to our standard? Look, that Call for Insights isn't live yet. It's something for me to produce in a couple of weeks. But I thought it was really poignant because it amplified the importance of exploratory testing. And we both concluded that we believe it's not talked about enough, with all the AI hype and AI doing everything. And our argument to each other was exploratory testing is a high value activity, and therefore we should focus more on it. And we were wondering as an industry why sometimes it's treated as a low value activity. So that's something we wanted to explore. So I think a good question that I think folks in the chat, and if you want to come up on stage, could answer is this. And I've written it down. I'm going to paste it in the chat now. Is the following. What do you think of this one, Demi? When did you last sit down and honestly map out your most valuable activities? I'm like, oh, that's a great question. It blew my mind. I was like, oh, when did I last do that?
Well, let's see. It's been a while, but I would say that at some point I needed to write down what the test strategy is for my team. So my team, they have a lot of different projects. So I was like, okay, I need to be vague enough that it covers everything, that's explicit enough that it tells you what we all do. So part of that was just like how we work, but some of it was really like, okay, here are the activities that the testers do. And I listed them like, yeah, we test things. But for example, an activity that I find very high value that others sometimes question a bit is we, the testers, review all of the analysis before it gets to a sprint planning or a backlog refinement. So we get to review the analysis to see if it's clear, if it's correct, if it makes sense in the overall picture. And then we can ask questions or put comments like, oh, maybe it's clearer this way, or are you sure about this? Because this other story card is telling something differently, or maybe this is not very user-friendly. Can you like make another error message that could appear or something like that? And people don't realize how many things you can prevent from being made incorrectly this way. So it was really like, even the first few weeks I was on this team and they were explaining to me that they did this, but the team was a bit annoyed with the testers because they were like, they are just like nitpicking all the tiny details and now we can get it to the sprint planning. And like the first time they had me do that, and it was like, the analyst was in the call with me and another tester and they explained how it worked. And it was like, okay. So I read this analysis and now this thing here, are you sure about that? Because this other page tells something differently. And they were all looking at me like that, like, Demi, how did you find this? How did we not find this? This is so important. And they were just mind blown at the first ever question I had about analysis, that it immediately like discovered a very big problem with the analysis. So since then, they have never taken it lightly whenever I put a comment or a question on the stick. But yeah, it's one of those activities that people don't realize how much impact it can have, like just preventing the developers from starting on something that's like in the definition is already wrong or not clear, or something like that. So I would say describing all the things that the testers do in our team was probably the last time I did this. I mapped out our high value activities. It was like, what are the most important things that testers do? How do we do that? I put it all in a test strategy.
I love it. And that's a great example. And I love those wow moments that developers can have where they're like, huh? Like, I didn't think that's what you did. Or like, oh, wow, how did you spot that thing? It's great when that happens. So I can
See,
see.
we got some answers in the chat.
Yeah, go for it, Demi. Go for it.
Okay. So Alexander apparently does it every day. Every day before his daily work. He maps out his valuable activities and then he knows his priorities for the day. So that is so cool that you do that every day. And then Gary says, I never really do that. So it's the complete opposite of Alexander, who does it daily. So Gary just does it a bit on instinct or asking other people, where do you need me to go? So it's also a very important one. Sometimes you, as a tester, can't really decide what is the most important thing for me to do. So maybe your team lead or the product owner or whatever can point you in the most valuable direction. So that's also a good one. And Adam says, probably just before my last annual review. Okay,
Love
it's also
that.
a good moment to do that.
Panic, Adam. It's time to do the annual review. That's brilliant.
And it seems that Alexander has come up with a term, vibe mapping, which I believe corresponds a bit with what Gary does, like just on instinct. What I need to focus on is vibe mapping. So I do like that word. I would say add it to the glossary with a definition. I absolutely love it.
100% vibe mapping. That's absolutely brilliant. This made me laugh a lot. Nadia was saying, actually, yesterday I'm working on a detailed documentation of what I'm actually doing and how, all the glue work. That is cool, Nadia. And this did come up in conversation with Ash. We touched a little bit on glue work, and it's like how, while glue work is super valuable, this is kind of where we went with the conversation. I think it still needs to be had. Is glue work, of course, is valuable, and the challenge with it we discussed was that it can be very invisible. So the fact that you're doing that exercise, I think, is awesome, right? And also making glue work, just that is part of my job description. That is what I'm being paid for. Like that is, that is what I do. That is my role. It's not extra. It shouldn't be extra. It's like build this into my actual role definition. Because the argument is, if it comes to a performance review, someone could be like, yeah, but you're responsible for this and you're doing all this other stuff. Like, how's that helping out? And Ash shared an example where he was sort of stepping into a Scrum Master role, and he realized he just dropped the ball on a load of testing activities. Like he was he got so caught up in I want to improve the process. It's all about the process. If I improve the process, we can deliver better. But he just had to put down testing activities, and it was a real moment for him where he's like, "Oh crikey, I've dropped the ball here." So yeah, that power of, as you say, Nadia, making it visible. That's wonderful. Just being real frank and straight up about this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm responsible for. This is high value. This is medium or low, or however it gets ranked. I think is a great exercise.
And I also love how she says that it's good. It's a good way to fight imposter syndrome. So I believe that's something a lot of us deal with sometimes, is like feeling that you're maybe not doing enough or you're not good at what you're doing and someone's going to find out very soon. But mapping all the high value activities that you do can indeed be a good way to counter that, to make sure like, oh, no, I am having a lot of high value activities that I do every week. So I do really like that insight. So
my head goes to being a data geek. I'm like, I wonder, I know it'll take effort to do it, but maybe we can get AI to do it for us. Is like we develop a little tool for ourselves, our high value activity tracker. I don't know, call it something like that. And we feed it our high value activities and lower value activities, or group them accordingly. And then each week it prompts us, on the Friday at the end of our week, like, what did you do? And you kind of select stuff, you say percentage of, or time spent, or effort spent. And then over time it tracks that high value activity, and it plays it back to you like every week or every month, and gives you a sense check on, like, are you genuinely performing in high value activities or elsewhere? And it's like a reflective tool that could be quite brutal and quite honest, but maybe it's like, it just helps folks reflect on are they genuinely staying in high value activity mode as much as possible. I wonder if there's something in that.
Yes, I'm sorry, Nadia. I quickly removed myself from screen because it's okay. It's okay. It's a new feature of This Week in Quality. It's disappearing co-hosts.
Yeah, it is. It's just slowly move off camera like this. You pop back on. We were a little inside story before we went live. There's two versions of the screens that Demi and I see. It's the one that we think is live, which is more of a portrait view of the two of us. And then we can see a box down below that shows our camera view as landscape. So we're like, is what people seeing is the portrait view, or is it like this wider view out here? So it was a good classic tester discussion, right? To discuss this kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll discover it in the recordings or something.
Yeah, that's it. They had that in the background. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So Adam shares, I've got into the habit of summarizing the tasks I work on daily in a markdown note. It's been really useful for reminding me to shine a light on glue work. Ah, nice. That's cool.
And I do think, like, I took a look at all the insights and moments and everything posted the past week, and I do think there are a couple of them that also tie into the topic of today of the high value activity. For example, I saw one by let me find it again. There were so many of them. The standardization shivers. So it came, I believe, from the round table that they did earlier in the week. But this one specifically came was a bit more from Richard Adams, and they said, like, it's when the company mandates you, like, oh, fill out this form or make something in this way, make the report like that, and because of that, if it's in too much detail and too like tight, actually, that it's more about going through the motions instead of actually the activity that it's supposed to be keeping track of. And I do appreciate that really hard. Like, it's the value isn't in filling out the form, but in the test, or in what the result of the test was. So if you need to fill out an entire big form for every defect, or every test that you ran, like, are you still really doing the test well, or are you just following the form or following the steps or everything? So I do think that it's like a good way of in like making it standardized so that everyone does it in a similar way. But is it still valuable that way? Is it still doing the most important activity? So I really do love that insight of Richard. So I absolutely love that one. I'm pretty sure there's a couple more, but I keep losing track of all the insights because Simon sent me the entire list earlier.
I know. It's a bit overwhelming. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, the thing about, like, just taking a step back from, so I joined that round table that ended up kind of us creating this insight. Rosie created it. What was cool about it, like, and Richard, Natalia, and Melissa, so Natalia Burmai, Richard Adams, Melissa Fisher, they just all had really good insights to share. And we really want to go for it with roundtables. So there's a new channel on the Motiverse Slack called Roundtables. I think that's the official name. I can quickly find it now. Yes, number 23_roundtable. So if you haven't joined that one already, so this is to all our listeners, is please do go join it. This is a way for us to easily spin up a call. So we treat it as an event, so anyone else can join, but a few people will be on stage and they just have an open discussion on a particular topic. And then that will allow us to play back to the community in the form of an insight article the things that people have said, and whoever writes that insight article will reflect on that, share their take, get some thoughts. It prompts a load of questions. So it's a great opportunity for people to fill up their Motiverse profile as well. So people get credited with participating. They were part of that roundtable. We will link to that roundtable. So the recording is also published live for people to access, for professional members to access. So it's brilliant. So if you're like, I just want to have a chat with a few people about this thing, post it in the roundtables channel and just say, who's up for a roundtable on this? And then we as Team Multiverse will set it up. And we really encourage people to do it. It's like a lightweight way of having a discussion to bring out insights, to sort of debate certain topics. And, there's a gazillion topics that we could debate, right? Like nonstop. So please do go for it. We hope that it's like low pressure, lightweight, just a way to, you don't really have to prepare anything before you do it. You can just rock up and join. And people can also join and just listen in. So I joined it. I didn't join the stage. I was in note-taking mode, and I wanted to create an insight by the end of the conversation. So I was hammering away, typing away, and listening in and sharing some things in the chat. So people can just join in and listen as well. They don't have to jump up on stage and participate in that way. So something to consider is getting involved in a round table. Talking about getting people involved, Demi, should we get people up on stage?
Definitely. Let's see if this camera function can expand a bit.
Yeah, let's see. Well, I was checking earlier this week. Apparently, the tool that we used, Wistia, can have 9 people up on stage at once, plus a presentation. So that might mean 10 people up at once if there isn't a presentation happening. We can have as many people join the backstage, but you and I, Demi, can only, we have another 8 people to join us apparently. So if we can get to 8 people up on stage, at least.
On the first time, just to check the network and everything.
Yes. Everyone piles on. You just join for 30 seconds and then jump off.
But like the first time we do this and immediately go to stress testing and taking the Wistia, of course, that's how we do things.
That's how we do things. Absolutely, 100%. So folks, do think about like, what high value activities are you doing? And I know some of you have shared in the chat already and how you reflect on your high value activities, but maybe some other questions. I'll throw a couple more in the chat. Here we go. This is a nice one because it's got the word AI in it. And we're trying our best not to talk about AI, but can't help ourselves. So which of your high value activities would you refuse to hand over to AI, and why? And another one which came out of that chat with Ash, which I thought was great, is how he decides whether to pick up a high value activity or not, is the signals that he has. So, is something going to be risky based on stuff he's seen, like, lack of code reviews, someone hasn't paired, they've just written it themselves, there's been no story mapping, there's been no acceptance criteria. Like for him, those were signals to like, oh, actually this is risky, I should do that. So what signals tell you a task is risky enough to warrant your full attention? So folks in the audience, we would love to get you up on stage. We want to get to three people up on stage with cameras on, slowly but surely. Gary Hawks says testing. I love it.
Yeah, you can leave that to AI. Okay, I can see it.
Gary, come and join us. Tell us more about this thing called testing. What does it mean?
To argue your case.
Yes, argue your case.
Let's see. Emily O'Connor also shared something, and she has a Slack channel called Diary with her and the key stakeholders, so the manager, the QA leads, and they share back to the channel work that they're doing and meetings they've led, and like she guesses she could have AI read a channel and summarize it for her performance review, but she hasn't done it yet, it seems so.
I
But
like
that
that
does seem
idea.
like a fun exercise. Let's see how that works.
Yes, Emily, tell us, develop that skill and you can share it as a moment on the Motiverse. So we're going to start doing that. Any Claude skills or any Copilot equivalent or whatever other AI tool of choice, if you're developing something, you can share it. Just share it with the community if they would find it useful.
I see we've got someone backstage with their camera
Yes,
on. So
it's Gary Hawks.
of course it is.
Yay, Gary. You
Gary,
made it. Welcome.
How you doing?
hi.
It's good to see you, Gary.
Yes, it's good to see you both as well. Yeah, yeah. So you can see my entire bedroom.
All right.
This yeah.
So this is interesting. So now we've gone 3 tiles. I think one of us is portrait. Well, my view says it's myself. Demi, you've gone landscape now. So we can see your ducks, which is
You can
wonderful.
see the rubber duckies.
See your ducks.
Okay.
It's brilliant.
I had double checked before we went live if people could see them or not.
I don't have ducks. I have dragons.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I have a lot of those.
I like
and
it.
and a baby dragon that's in an egg.
If you show a bit of MOT merch on the camera, then you get the score, I believe, or a badge.
I've got a t-shirt. I forgot to wear it. So yeah, so I've only got my company branded t-shirt. I'm afraid. So yeah,
it's fair play, Gary. You know, you're representing.
Yeah. So going back to your questions, I'll go back to like the first point. I'll say with my role is like the sort of high value task. It's really difficult for me. I kind of because my high value tasks are kind of instinctive, and so it's like, so I was obviously being the sort of team lead. I'm like, where do I need to go to have the biggest impact to the current situations right now? And I'm saying like this week, for example, is that we've got like 3 project teams. One team is like being really productive, and they're all kind of like using AI coding agents. I don't want to go back into the speeches that I've done about 2 times about that. I'm going to try and rein in the AI. So yeah, there's one team's become really productive, and one team has become, less productive. So it's like, okay, that team, they're good. I'm not going to add any more I can to them, but something's not quite right here. So I need to focus on this one. And so sometimes it's like whether so in that particular instance, I'm actually kind of doing a coaching session with the developers, and so my role kind of like, varies all the time. So it's like, okay, so the developers are kind of missing something here. We haven't really released anything for quite a long while, and they've had their heads into and their blinkers on into like producing lots of code, and they're not thinking of outcomes. So I need to coach them to get back to thinking of outcomes, and using whatever their tooling is to be far more sort of wider in their thinking, because they're perceiving. I think everyone knows here, all the kind of risks with it, but it's like when it can be quite frustrating when it's like, it can be quite obvious to you that something's not quite right, and you can see where the problem is, but then trying to relay that and trying to coach people where they think they're being productive because they're generating lots of code, and they see that as output, but they're not actually seeing the output. So often I have a lot of facts behind me, so it's like it's that relaying of facts as well that I can help influence. I said, you do realize we haven't released anything for 3 sprints? What? No, we haven't released anything for 3 sprints. We haven't tested anything for, in this particular team. This is how bad it is, for like 4 sprints. And, and it's like trying to get that message across because you've been going backwards and forwards on particular coding things. And so, yeah, so that's where kind of like I get my high value stuff. And sometimes that high value stuff is, wow, the test team's getting really like over allocated with stuff now. And then I'll say to the team, where do you want me? And it's like, oh, okay. It really help if we helped out testing with this product. Right, okay. Then I'll come in and help try and sort of balance the sort of testing, because there's like peaks and troughs. I don't know if everyone else suffers from that. There's lots of peaks and troughs in the workload. So when there's a peak, if I need to dive in and help out, then I'll dive in and help out. So that's my kind of explanation for that side of things. I'm trying to go back to the other questions. Yeah, and so like I'd refuse to hand testing to AI, and I think it's one of those reasons, and that's not saying, we're using in testing we're using AI all the time. So it's like whether we're assessing stories, I've even like tried to coach product managers or product people to raise better stories by using a prompt, to get their context right, to create the better stories. But yeah, there's just certain things where, yeah, we can have automated tests, but I wouldn't just send that off to an AI engine, create the tests, go run them. Thanks very much. Without having any kind of responsibility or understanding of what we have just tested. So there needs to be, at the end of it, products are going to humans at the end of the day. Some human needs to look at it just to, somewhere in there, even if that's through automated tests where you understand what those tests are. But yeah, I couldn't hand the whole lot over to AI, however advanced it is. So yeah.
Yeah, so many good points there, Gary. I mean, the kind of, there has to be, as professionals, right, for us lot of testing and quality professionals, our high value stuff, and that is our skill, and that's what we hold on to, and that's what we develop. And I think, again, maybe it comes back to sometimes as a industry or as a profession, we have to get better at demonstrating that value. And that can look like many different things. And it's often a challenge, particularly when there's maybe assumptions made about what really is testing, how does it add value? Oh, you're just checking stuff, yada, yada. And this is where I think I keep coming back to exploratory testing. Like, for me, exploratory testing is the essence of an amazing testing quality professional. There's systems thinking in there, there's questioning skills, there's critical thinking, there's planning, there's heuristics, oracles. There's so much more. There's creativity. There's trying to work out what's breadth and depth and the value of that. There's all sorts, right? All wrapped up. Note-taking, of course, note-taking, debriefing, storytelling, playing back, working out stakeholder requirements and different audiences and pitching accordingly. It's like it's everything in it, I think. So that's one real high-value activity that I think has to stay, and we have to amplify it more. I think what you shared, Gary, is really interesting about they are instinctive. So given your experiences, okay, you get a little sense things aren't quite right here. Then maybe others aren't quite seeing it, so you'll go to it. And also asking people like, oh, where can I best position myself? I think those two approaches are amazing. I think you also highlight something very interesting about breadth and depth. Like, it's so easy, isn't it, for us to get caught up in just drill right down on that particular thing, must go deep, and the skill to be able to step back and look at things and go, well, to your point, you said, we haven't released anything for 3 sprints and we haven't tested for 4 sprints. It's like, that's a real indicator of something isn't quite right here. We need to do something about it.
Now, obviously, we didn't wait for 4 sprints.
Of course.
I was making, and again, it's one of those things where something's not right. So I've stepped in, like in earlier sprints, and said something as a kind of encouragement. But it's like, this is like where the communication has to go up a level each time. It's like, hang on, they're not getting it. Maybe I've said it wrong. Maybe I need to say it a different way. So then you come to that opportunity again, and then you bring it back a different way. So then I'm literally sort of taking. I feel like I hate to be in a position where what I'm saying to very experienced developers comes across as condescending or anything like that. And I'm trying to all I'm trying to do is not to tell them what to do, but tell them what they should be considering as part of their roles. And I don't think they're considering certain things as important enough or more important than their generation of code. So it just ramps up every single time. Now, obviously, when I'm doing these, sometimes these are in like sprint ceremonies, so they're like in retros. And I think, and this goes to the other point that you were making about where your sort of high value skills and where you train them. Because the other thing is, I don't want to be the only person doing this. I don't want to be the only person that, oh, Gary's off moaning about us not doing stuff well and stuff, is I want other people to think this and correct it themselves. So especially with my direct team being the QA team, I've had some one-to-ones this week. We've had a team meeting this week, and I sit in there and I just basically explain, this is how my thought process goes. This is what happens. So it's kind of like a two thing. So I know that I can add value in a particular situation, but I also like to explain how I ended up there, what I observed, and why I communicated things in a particular way, and what my hope for the outcome will be, so that others can go, oh, okay, even if they just remember that the outcome I'm hoping for, that when they're dealing with the same teams as well, that they're at least questioning one of those elements, and and helping with that process to keep the kind of focus on outcomes good. So yeah.
Oh, lots of reflections there, Gary. Feel free to jump on in, Demi. I'm conscious of I keep on blurting out stuff and don't want to hog the mic.
No, I thought it was very interesting. I was just like, but now you can see me doing it at least. So, I took a quick look at the chat and I saw there that Preeti was completely agreeing with you, Gary. 100% product is going to humans in the end. At the end of the day, so of course humans should test it. And Preeti also shared that what activity would they refuse and over to AI is the merging of pull and merge requests. So I am very curious about that one, Preeti. So if you can join us on stage, I would love to hear more about that one. We have lots of room here on stage, as you can see.
We absolutely do.
Definitely. I'm trying not to get distracted by all the screens here.
I think, Gary, there's something about the word outcomes, and it keeps coming up in the community, like, outputs or outcomes and the difference between the two. And I wonder if there's like, I don't know, I think there is like a high value activity model that we could create. And I think it's mapping those high value activities to outcomes. Like, what do they really lead to? And then people go through that.
Mapping those.
I mean, vibe mapping. It's
vibe mapping.
It's vibe mapping, of course. We're coming straight back to vibe mapping. So a vibe mapping tool that would help us document our high value activities. Like, it really asks us some good questions. Asks us to be as straightforward and as honest as we can. And then it's like, it links to the outcomes. Like, what are you hoping for off the back of this high value activity? And then like some sort of rating that we can have, on a whatever cadence we want, 2 weeks, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever. It just kind of is that exercise of just reflection. And we can tweak those high value activities and the outcomes accordingly. I see Preeti has joined us backstage. Here we go. We're going to 4 people. Yes, we did it. Preeti, it's lovely to see you.
Hello. I hope I am audible.
Yes. All
Thank
good.
you.
How's your week in quality been? How you been?
Yeah, it was quite hectic, but full of challenges as well, which I like. And similar way, the one wrote here that what would I not like to go with AI is merge or pull request, which we create in everyday's life in automation world. What was stopping me was the video theme today. I don't know if it is going to be in every episode or what, but that's the reason I was not coming on the stage, but it's okay. Yeah. So coming to our high value activities, which we would refuse to hand to AI, why I wrote merge request or pull request. This is something coming out from my experience that as we know that we cannot fully rely on AI, but there are few things for which we can say that yes, we can use AI. PR review, MR review is fine. Go for it. Ask the AI bot to review my colleague's PR or my PR and give some suggestions there which we can improve to have some better coding practices or anything else there. But when it comes to that button to hit merge this MR to the mainstream, that is something critical. And I feel like it should be in our hands, human hands, where before merging, we can have a final look, whatever we are going to merge in that mainstream is correct or not. Because AI would always suggest generic things when we are working on something even if it AI bot assistant has the full code repo with it, can scan everything, can suggest everything, but they don't understand the ultimate business strategy, ultimate core importance where the business want to go, or who would be the end users to use that particular product. That is something we as dev developers or testers know that what who would be the end users using this our code and where our business wants to go. So that's the reason before hitting that merge request, even though we have like integrated with the AI bots to give suggestions to some suggestions, self fix, and all those kind of things are in place, but that particular button we never try to automate it or give ask AI that after reviewing, after fixing those things, review comments, go and hit the button. No, never. And I feel like this is something should be in the hands of experienced person. Ultimately, when as Gary mentioned that after 3 sprints or 4 sprints, if I have to look back and see from where this error came from, how did this happen when it was merged? If no human was available there, it will be missed because everything was doing AI. At least something, at least before some disaster or good thing happened, before that step should be in human hand. That's how I feel. And that's the reason I wrote no. I won't allow my AI assistant to do these kind of critical things. This is actually one of those things.
Oh, I love it, Preeti. Thank you so much for sharing. It's like you've identified, if I can play it back correctly, that looking at a merge request or a pull request is of high value because it's risky, right? It's risky if it goes wrong, and it's risky if we're not aware of what changes are happening and getting merged into main. That's scary stuff, right? And just handing that over, okay, yeah, just go for it. It's fine. I can certainly understand a cause for concern.
Yes, sometimes it do happens that we get a merge conflicts as well because somebody in between put their own code there, and then we whosoever is responsible for those conflicts sit together and resolve those things. And if I consider that if I ask that AI to resolve the conflicts and then merge those code, somebody will be coming up and asking that where is my code? Who removed this code? So somebody has to be responsible at those kind of uh, things to be done in that particular event or process. So I feel like it is like quite critical.
A high value activity indeed. This is good. It's like we're building a list of high value activities. And like, I do like a good list. Over time, we can build this database of high value activities and then kind of use that as an oracle for if people are struggling to document their own, how am I adding value? What are my high value activities? They could go to this list and go, oh yeah, I do that. Or oh, I don't do that. Maybe I should do that. It's like a tool to help people, perhaps. Demi or Gary, any thoughts to jump on in? And no problemo if you don't. It's all good.
No, I think it's Preeti's absolutely right. It's at some point, and again, it's all like it's very difficult not to talk about AI, so I'm going to talk about it. It's that like I said, there's so many things that the whole from like getting good software out there, someone has to know. Someone has to know it is, or a group of people need to know and have confidence. It's the humans that have to have confidence. AI will always have confidence. I remember like giving AI a crossword clue and told them it was 9 letters, and it came back with a 10-letter answer. And it was absolutely confident that it was the right one. I said, "You do realise this is 10 letters?" And it's, "Oh yes." So as one of your quotes, I can't remember the phrase you used, Simon, but yes, that quote came back.
See, good catch.
Good catch. Yeah. So I think it's always that thing of like, use it. And I think this is like when I separate the two, my kind of project teams that I was kind of like dealing with. One of them is use it specifically to become more productive in the areas that they feel they're in control of. And then the other team is using it as a solution to being productive. And ironically, they're not productive. They're producing lots of stuff, but it's not productive in outcomes. And it goes to show is that with everything we do, there's always a balance. And like I said, at the end of the day, our products are not going to AI bots. Most of them. Well, I hope not anyway. They're going to humans, and they're going to give value to, although they should be giving value to humans or companies or processes and stuff like that benefit more people. And so people need to know it's going to be good. You can't just bank on, you can't just, like you say, like Preeti was saying, you can't just let the merges happen and then something goes wrong and you say, well, sorry, it's not us. It was the AI agent that did it. That's not going to wash. So, yeah, absolutely bang on, Preeti. Yeah.
For me also, like when we used to create a team and all initial days, let's say 10 years ago, what I remember, we had like 3 to 4 people in our team, and each one having a different experience. Fresher, 3 years of experience, 5 years of experience people. So when we are dividing the task, we very well know that what task should be given to a fresher, which the outcome should be better from the fresher, and what task will go to the experienced person from where output would be better, because ultimately we have to show the teamwork there. Same way, AI is a team member assistance for us. So we need to understand that what sort of work should go to AI, where we can resolve the thing quickly with the help of AI. What decisions AI should take, where we can take help from AI thing, and what decisions still should be in our hands. Because ultimately, somebody sitting at top of it would be responsible for the whole task. So we need to be very clear about dividing the task or allocating the task to AI as well in this case.
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm just typing some notes, reflecting on that. What tasks can be delegated? And that your analogy, the thought around treating AI like a team member, sort of considering experiences. Yeah, very interesting. Oh, this is good. This is good chat, folks.
Yeah, I believe, Simon, if I look at the clock, we're already like the hour has flown by and we're just getting to all the good stuff and we just want to keep going.
Indeed,
Oh.
it's been a fun This Week in Quality, the first one officially with cameras on, and yeah, thank you, Gary and Preeti, for being up for switching your camera on. I maybe should have said at the start, if people do want to join the stage, they don't feel obliged to switch your camera on. Apologies, I didn't say that at the start, but that's something I need to bring into the start of our episodes. But yeah, if I may, it'd be cool to grab a screenshot of the four of us, and this could go down in history as a moment as the four people that are on their first official This Week in Quality. So I'll see what I can do.
And
Should we make some poses?
Let's go. Brilliant.
For the people at home, that because I saw Helene post in the chat, like a side effect of the camera on is that she keeps emoting at the screen, thinking the people on stage can see her. Like, do share in the moments what that face looks like. We would love to see that. Like, share your pose as well and put it there in the moments. It would be awesome.
That's a great idea.
But it was an incredible episode with like lots of insights. I'm sure like Simon has a whole list of posts he's going to make with all the things said in the chat and here in the conversation. So I believe that before we sign off, I'm going to drop one last hot take, which is on the last question you asked, Simon, because no one answered that one yet. So let's try to answer it. So what signals tell you a task is risky enough to warrant your full attention? So my hot take is, it's those tasks where they say, "Oh, Demi, you can't test that." Then I'm like, "Ooh, now you told me something. I can test it. Why? What is it? What are you gonna do to test it?" And like immediately, it has my attention, and I want to understand it. And like last sprint, they came up with one of those tickets, and I told in our daily meeting, like, "Okay, guys, I'm preparing a test for that." And the developer was like, "But you can't test it, Demi. That's like backend APIs integration." And this like, no. I have made tests for this, and I'm gonna send them to you. There is my data. You're gonna run the test now, and you're gonna see if it works. And I actually got some bugs out of his code that way because I knew of test cases that he didn't see, apparently. So each time they tell me, "Oh, you can't test the Demi," I'm immediately like, "Why? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna stop me?" I don't think so. But that's my hot take.
That's
you get my
awesome.
full attention the moment you say I can test it.
I love it. That is one of the ultimate signals. That's very cool. Very cool. Wonderful. Well, folks, we will wrap up today's This Week in Quality. Thanks to everyone who's stuck with us beyond the hour. Thank you to those of you who have joined us via the podcast. Thank you for sticking by, Gary and Preeti, and it's been wonderful to see you on stage and to co-host with yourself, Demi, as always. We do encourage folks who aren't familiar with the Motiverse to head on over to ministryoftesting.com. Do go check it out. There's always lots of good stuff going on. Do consider a professional membership. That is the best way to make the most of being part of the community. You just head over to ministryoftesting.com/membership. Go check it out. Tons and tons of benefits. It's very, very worthwhile. It is your ultimate career companion. Please do go check it out. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, wherever you may be, and we'll see you soon in the Motiverse. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.